Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is your man Roy coming at you with another Marvel Contest of Champions video. Now, in today's video, we're going to do the playthrough of Act 5.1.1 and 5.1.2. Now, if you've seen the previous video about the hints and tips, we talk about useful champions and the relevant paths that I think are the easiest, so we'll be going with those ones on the playthrough. But also as well, you'll see that the champions that we're going to be using today are no higher than maxed out 4-star or rank 2 5-star champions, just to show you that you can do these levels with lesser ranked champions, and that some of the lesser used champions as well, so they're not your normal go-to champions for content clearing. And it's just to show you what is achievable with the champions in your roster. So I'm just going to have a quick make sure that we have got all the relevant paths in front of me, because my memory is shocking and I don't always remember what it is I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm just going to go into quest mode here, Act 5, Chapter 1, Quest 1. And you'll see the team that we're bringing in. So in the video we mentioned that She-Hulk is an absolute beast. Now, unfortunately, I've just taken my 5-star She-Hulk up to about rank 4. So we're going to be using the 4-star version, which is maxed out. And the way that I've got my mastery set up with the increased critical damage and some of the synergies that we've brought in does put that attack up just slightly, so the PI is just over 6,000. We've got Symbiote Spider-Man, which if you've seen the champion overview videos of Symbiote Spider-Man, you'll know that this guy packs an absolute punch with a special 2. He also crits like an absolute machine, so especially in 5.1.1 where we've got Flare, we're going to get 300% attack. That damage is just going to come flying off. We've got Vision for power drain. Vision Age of Ultron for me is a really underrated champion. So we currently have him not even maxed out as a 4-star, but the special 2 power drain and power burn, power steal really for me works wonders and does seriously good damage given the rank of the champion. We've also got a 4-star barely ranked up Venom, but we are bringing some synergies in with that Venom. So if we take a look, we've got all symbiote champions gain 4% attack and health, so that's going to apply to Venom, Agent Venom, and also Symbiote Spider-Man. All champions gain that crit rating, so again that's really going to help Symbiote Spider-Man and She-Hulk with increased damage, and all champions gain 6% health. So just a couple of synergies there that we can play about with, just to give us that little bit more edge with the DJ that we're going to be facing with Flare. And finally Agent Venom as a 5-star, but as you'll see from this is a rank 1 5-star. So less used champions, just to show you that this early game can be completed with lesser champions. It still doesn't beat the need for a little bit of skill in the basics of the game. So the path we're going to take is up to Guillotine. And Guillotine is pretty easy to start with. She has energy resistance and more likely to activate special attack 2. So we're actually going to bring Agent Venom in this one, I think. Just because energy resistance, all his damage is physical. Now special 1 can be really good for bleeding a champion. And the damage with Flare that we're going to get if we do bleed, it's going to bring it down quite somewhat. So you see they're absolutely tearing it up. Special 2 is easy to dodge. There we go. So we're down just about 40% health, which given the number of champions on this path isn't too bad. We've got 5 champions. And if it's the first time kind of running through, we're at the state of the game where health potions are relatively easy to come across, so you may need to heal up ever so slightly to continue within the game, but you should be able to manage just with a little bit of skill to get through in one piece. So we're going to bring in Spider-Man here against this Gambit, and again the crit damage is really going to pay off for us in this one. Mistakes were made to start with. So you see there, 4,000 for a medium crit, 6,000 on that one. Block that attack, and he's done. So without that mistake we would barely have lost any health. As it stands we're still at 70% health, which is okay. And then the path we're going to take is up to Voodoo and Cap America World War II, just because they don't have any local nodes for us to contend with. It's purely the flare that we're up against. So we're going to bring She-Hulk in on this one for the class advantage, so we're going to degen that health just ever so slightly less than we normally would. And you see there the crit damage is insane for a 4-star. 10,000 on that medium with the synergies and the flare node from a 4-star rank 5 champion. So again, the class advantage, we're going to bring in Agent Venom just so we degen ever so slightly slower. And again, we're hoping to get some good crit damage with the class advantage and hopefully activate that bleed on Special 1 as well. And look at it go. That is a good thing to see, guys. There we go. So just about 14% lost in that one through the flare. Okay, Scarlet Witch. So again, this is where having any champion that can shrug off debuffs or poison immune comes in really handy. So we could use either Agent Venom, Vision or She-Hulk for this one. Again, just so we've got the class advantage, we're going to go with She-Hulk because we may get heal blocks, so we might not be able to recover anything as we play through, but it shouldn't cause us too much of an issue. Not a problem at all. Okay, so Civil Warrior is a little bit more tricky just since his buff, but we're going to bring in the class advantage of Venom, I think. Just give him a little try out. So it goes to show you that even a lesser rank 4 champion can still perform at this level against most of the champions you're more likely to come across. And again, the animations for Civil Warrior are the same for the special attack, so if you've had experience fighting him in the past, then you don't need to kind of relearn any of his animations, or it can just be annoying to get him to launch a special attack. Come on. There we go. And that's the worst thing about Flare. If I'm not playing ball really in terms of launching the special attack, that's where you can take the damage. And it just really depends on the AI that you get. X23 next, so I'm going to bring in Vision I think for this one. We've got the class advantage, and it'd be a good way to power drain just to limit the regen effects there. But again, he does really good damage for the level of him against these types of champions. The X23 doesn't have the largest health pool in the world anyway, but the fact that it can beat a champion 2.5 times the PI with ease at the level it's at just goes to show you, with the wide availability of the champions in the game now and the rarity of the champions going into 5-star, you shouldn't have any issue really dealing with the champions of this level at this stage. So we've got Kang at the end, so let's use a little bit more of Spider-Man for this one. See if we can get up to special 2 if we don't crit too much. see there, the crit damage is just brilliant for this level. Melted in a matter of seconds. So one of the difficulties if you are coming at this at a lower level player is the amount of energy it takes to start going round some of these paths. So you will find yourself potentially stopping halfway through a quest waiting on energy refills rather than using any yourself. And because we're going to do the 5.1.2 run after this, we just used a full full energy revive. But you may want to just use a couple of the 5 energy points if you've got them stashed up through some of the solo achievements and things like that. Definitely Venom for this tech champion. There's also, at the point of recording this, Howard the Duck has just had a buff as well. So it's just to watch. He's going to pack a bit heavier punch than you're maybe used to fighting this guy in the past. But Venom should still make pretty light work of it. Done. Venom is an absolute godsend no matter what level he is, but certainly at this level of the content in Chapter 5, as you've seen, a 4-star at rank 4, or even rank 3, can still perform wonders. Yeah, rank 3 4-star. So Nightcrawler's the pain in the backside, but parry, stun, heavy attack Nightcrawler means we play as normal, because you can't actively evade. It's just keeping an eye on that timer, getting the parries in, stunning them, and if we can get that stun reapplied, but in this case we don't need it. Red Guardian works really well as well once you get the power rating up to special attack 1, because it activates slow immediately on activation. If you don't have any champion that can have slow, just parry, stun, medium light, medium combo should be enough within the time span, or just 2 mediums should be enough, and just rinse and repeat. Just watch for his evade and watch for his extra bleed damage, so you can bring in a bleed immune champion if you want to just kind of prevent yourself any extra damage going on there. Now, we don't have a mutant to combat this fellow, so let's go full send with Ancient Venom and see if we can get him down before we get wasted with the flare or the block damage from Falcon's special 1, because it does hit relatively hard at this level. So this is probably the first champion that you may have problems with, but ideally you want to get up to special 2, because it's so much easier to avoid just staying out of range, and in this case the crit damage is going to see us through to a win before we get depleted. Okay, and then Kang to finish. Kang's okay. I tend to treat him a little bit like most of the Iron Man champions, is just bait out special 1, it's just a laser beam attack, and the only other thing he's got is 60% extra health, so he's just going to take that a little bit longer to melt down, but we'll go and do it with Karmith Agent Venom. I always like to use champions with low health just to take off what we can before we bring in other champions, because every champion has their use. There's nothing worse than the low health champion being the last one on your list, because then you definitely need to use health potions if you mess up. Whereas start with the one with depleted health and work your way up means that we're not using any unnecessary health. But we'll degen a little bit less with the class advantage on Venom, so we shouldn't have too many issues. And the bleed damage that comes off this Venom alone, with this synergies that give it that kind of extra level of attack, should still be enough to beat him even at this health depletion rate. We're going to go into this True Strike and done. So a rank 3 4-star champion done most of the work in that one. So it shows you what can be done given the right champions. So let's go back now, and we're just going to take a little look. We've got War Machine coming up Nightcrawler, Guillotine, Winter Soldier. Let's have a look and see who we can use for 5.1.2. So we've got the breakthrough node this time, so they've got a lot more armour that reduces with each hit, so we're not too worried about the class advantage really too much in this one. We just want people that can do lots and lots of hits. So anyone want to change out? Do we change anyone across or not? Do we just do it? Oh, I'll tell you who we'll bring in. Let's get rid of Vision and bring in Cyclops. I find them really quite good to use after we get over that combo against armor champions, because in his abilities, so if you've got him awakened, so beams are calibrated, so increased critical damage rating, and as long as a combo of 10 more hits is maintained, then the armor break affects a 20% increased duration. And as long as a combo of 20 or more is maintained, the beam attacks are passively unblockable. So after a combo of 20 or more, you can launch a special attack at any time and it will be unblockable. And we get armor break debuffs as well using special attacks, so it will reduce the armor rating just that little bit more as well. I think everyone else we want to keep in. Let's just see what Cyclops can do coming into this attack. So first one's Gwenpool. And let's use Cyclops. Let's just see what it can do against Gwenpool. Again, Gwenpool can't die out when awakened from special attacks, but you will get her down substantially with using them. And again, just bait out the special one with the twist attacks and dodge the shot at the end. Because the special attack 2 is just slightly harder to go up against. So our beam attacks now are passively unblockable, so we can trigger them at any time and we'll cut through the defence. Come on, you know you want to. There we go. Now, for me, when completing these events, it's not about who can complete it in the quickest time. It's who's the easiest to use, who you're most comfortable and familiar using. Do you know their timings? Do you know their basic attacks? Do you know how long it takes and what range to counter attack a heavy attack? All of these things for me really make up what champions to use for this. Now, I think we take left hand side path here. Yeah. So again, if you've got a slow champion, then you may want to take Nightcrawler and Unstoppable Colossus. We've also got She-Hulk in this party, but otherwise then we're going to take the Guillotine. Then the only challenge that we might face with this path, I think, is a War Machine later on, but we've got the tools, we should be okay. So Guillotine, again, just going to bring in Cyclops. Again, he does do decent damage once we get the combo count done there, but it just goes to show you that for this path, it's just patience and familiarity with your enemy that is more important than anything here. We're not under any time scale, we're not under any degen timer or anything like that. Just know your enemies, know the path that you're going to take and who you're fighting and get used to fighting them so that you know how to evade them and all the rest. It's patience. Patience wins the race in this game, just as equally as high hitting champions. And it depends on who you've got in your roster. If all you've got is these champions, then the understanding of what you're going up against helps you out so much more, because you can use any champion. And certainly with the breakthrough node, there's nothing too sinister about it, in all fairness. Flare, you just really want, again, champions you're familiar with, and the class advantage to slow that degen timer. So again, rank 1 Cyclops does the business. Okay, so we've got choice of 2 paths here. Now again, it depends on who you've got in your roster. I would normally advocate avoiding Spider-Man like the plague, but again, if you went the other path, then you're going to come down. You've got Hulkbuster, Scarlet Witch, which can be a bit annoying to fight. You've got Elektra, Red Hulk, that if you're not used to dealing with his energy damage even through block, that can be a bit difficult. Ant-Man's just a pain. Magneto, since his buff, most people want to avoid him. So yeah, those paths are a little bit more complicated. I would personally go for the Cap America World War II and War Machine. That's just kind of really one champion you have to worry about. So we can really use any champion for this. Let's go to the class advantage this one, just to see if we can get through a little bit quicker. I could use the higher level champions, but the whole purpose of this walkthrough is to show you that lower leveled and ranked champions can do the business. So let's get a bit of bleed in there, hopefully. No, not this time. So again, really good if you can't do it already, is learn Cap's timing for the shield throw, because then you don't need to worry too much about always having to bait out the special one. You've always got the option to build up a little bit quicker and evade the shield toss. The timing is very, very similar to Thor's hammer throw. So if you can do one, the time is pretty similar, just watching the animation ready for the throw to happen. So 82 hits, 86 hits in total, but again, we've got there. And we're still pretty much at full health. That's the thing. For me, I'd much rather do it slowly and steadily and have the health of my champions for the end boss than power through making mistakes or taking massive block damage if you don't need to. So for this one, let's see what we can do with Venom. Should be able to go one shot here. So this is under 4,000 PI champion going against a 16,000 PI champion. Come on, so that's special too. Again, the thing with special attacks for War Machine is you don't want to follow up straight away, because you recover so quickly from them. So you can dodge it if you get the right timing, but don't try and follow up because you will get clipped. So to take block damage there, unfortunately. Again, don't counter into it. Made that mistake so many times playing through early game. Should be us now. So there we go. A rank 3 4-star champion going up against a 16,500 PI champion. So I'm just going to use a couple of the 5 refills here. For this one, let's go with a little bit of Spider-Man again. So again, Spider-Man has really good armor break. It lasts for a long time. It's not particularly damaging, but for any champions where you need to get that reliable armor break on, Symbiote Spider-Man's a pretty good shout for it. Oh well, didn't also mean to get hit by that. I'll do 11,000 damage, thank you. Been a while since I fought Gambit, so I'm kind of forgetting the mechanics of them. So a few mistakes were made, but we recovered. Always good. Okay, now Howard the Duck has, as I say, received a buff. But for me, Symbiote Spider-Man should get rid of his armor buffs fairly easily. It'll just be the block damage we may take in doing so. He's going to gain these Fury buffs as well whenever anyone's stunned. Unblock off, I've already checked the nodes beforehand. Not to worry, not to worry. So the nodes that we've got, yeah, special 1 unblockable, so that's the first hit. Armor abilities are 40% more effective, and he's got increased attack as well. But never mind, right, let's come in with a little bit of Venom. Yeah, so Howard's definitely a little bit more annoying to fight now because he's going to get those Fury buffs up when stunned. Which just causes problems if you do make a mistake and get clipped in the fact that it's going to hurt. Again, playing through this if it's your first time, if you've got a limited roster, I wouldn't be trying anything fancy like intercepts or anything like that. Just go with what you know. There's no downside to the parry, stun, repeat method, and it saves you taking a lot of damage elsewise. So bait out special 1 and bait out another special 1 before we go in for special 2. And guys, you don't get good at the game overnight. I mean, I've been playing this about 4 months after the game started, so it takes a long time to develop the skills. And there's still some players, really struggle with dexing, parrying, and so on and so forth. So just practice, and you'll get there. Right, so Moon Knight, so he's not got anything particular apart from Breakthrough. Depends on what cycle of the moon that we're in might cause us a little bit of an issue, just with power gain or increase of evade or whatever, but we'll see what we're at. Again, his special 1 timing can be a little bit harder to counter if you're not used to it. So if you haven't kind of countered Moon Knight before a special 1, I would recommend just blocking it. You'll take some block damage, but hopefully you'll retain enough health through this kind of quest that you have a few champions to choose from by the time you come to the end. So this is just a stick attack, which is fine. And he's down. The bleed damage will kill him off. There we go. So there we go, guys. 5.1.1 and 5.1.2 in the bin, and we used at most maxed 4-star, and I think the highest was a rank 2 5-star. So it can be done with these champions, more so now than ever, as I said earlier on, with the increased availability of 5-star champions just through the shards. So you can get fairly well through the initial part of Act 5 just with these low level rank 5-star champions. But you can also use 4-stars to fall back on if that's all that you've got when you've been progressing through your account. So early game players, don't be shy about ranking them up if that's all that you've got, because they do have their individual uses if that's the only champions that you've got. So if you did enjoy the video, make sure and give it the big old thumbs up. Drop a comment below if you have any other recommendations for champions that players watching this can view, other hints and tips that you've come across. And if you've watched this and liked it and want to see more, make sure and hit the subscribe and notify buttons so you know when new content goes live on the channel. So thanks guys, all the best, catch you later, and we'll speak soon.